Today, let's look at the meaning of God's command to man, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth, and subdue it, and rule it. Why do humans need to be fruitful and prosperous? If we look at God's purpose of creation, we can see its intention. As I have said many times, God created human beings to be like Himself because He wanted to love and date with us. This is because when we are similar and alike, we can communicate well and make each other more happy. When human beings prosper, God will be more pleased to have more children to socialize with. But if none of the sons and daughters and grandchildren look like them, the joy of seeing their descendants will be greatly diminished. God is more pleased with us the more we'll resemble Him. It is good that people who resemble God will have a good and beautiful heart, and it will be good because they can communicate with God better. In this sense, the basic condition for fertility and prosperity is that people who resemble God should prosper. But now, and like in the beginning, if you believe in Jesus, you'd become a child of God. At the time of creation, all human spirits could have fellowship with God, but after humans sinned, they were separated from God and could no longer please God. But now, the spirit who believes in Jesus and whose sins are forgiven comes to life and can have fellowship with God again. God was able to have children who loved Him again. Therefore, increasing the number of people who believe in Jesus has the same meaning as being fruitful and prosperous. So, the more we evangelize, the more God will be pleased. Also, if believers have many children and raise them up to be people of right faith, the number of God's children will increase, which will also please God. But now it is becoming trend to have fewer children. The reason for having fewer children is because raising them costs a lot of money and effort. Isn't having fewer children because we're becoming more and more selfish? Let's think about how hard my parents went through giving birth to me and raising me. We are here today because they put in a lot of effort without getting paid. Then, wouldn't it be fair that we struggle to raise our children as much as our parents struggled to raise us? There is no reason to lament that your suffering was in vain, just because you did not get paid back for your hard work. Am I not paying enough to my parents myself? My child will not be able to pay me back either. Still, I think it would be better for us to give love while having more children and sacrificing more if we can. This is how God pleases. Jesus also loved us that way. Why did He say, "Fill the earth"? It seems that God prefers that humans live spread out evenly over the whole earth rather than living in one side too much. God created the world differently. Each region has its own characteristics and beauty. Therefore, doesn't God want people to live in scattered regions and feel the beautiful earth that God has created? How beautiful is the world! If possible, I would like to visit every corner of the world and enjoy its beauty. If you live in a small area, you will not be able to experience all the beautiful nature of the wide and expansive earth. If Dad bought a lot of presents, wouldn't he want to see his children rejoice as they unpack all the presents rather than opening one or two? It seems that God wants us to fully enjoy the various scenery and nature that He has given us as gifts. If it is difficult for us to live dispersed any longer, we should praise and give thanks to God for creating beautiful nature, even in this state. When people live in one place, many disadvantages that God does not like are also exposed. Where the population is concentrated, strong leaders emerge and form groups with greater power. When they have this kind of power, they feel that their power is very strong. Then they want to show off their power, and they dominate and oppress the people around them and bring them suffering. After Noah's flood, people gathered on the plain of Shinar and began to build a tall tower, in the meaning of not to be scattered. This is against God's will to fill the earth. Because they lived together, they mistakenly thought they were strong. So they decided to build a tower high with the power of humans to reach God. This pride is caused by living together rather than scattered. As a result, they were eventually punished by God. God also said to subdue and rule the world. Conquest here does not mean winning and plundering through battle. The world God created in the beginning is a place where there is neither war nor death. Also, human beings are the rulers of all things in terms of abilities and status. All animals are submissive to humans, so what's the point in conquering them by force? Therefore, this does not mean to do it by force, but it means to rule with the goodness and love of God. If we treat plants and animals with love and use the land as carefully as possible, we will be more in harmony with God's will. But if we destroy nature, we ruin the gift that God has made so wonderful. Currently, the world is polluted so badly, and animals and plants suffer a lot because of the selfish actions of humans. We must do our best not to pollute nature. It is also a problem for humans to fail to properly play the role of good rulers, but destroying the government order entrusted to them from God is very disappointing to God. Only God is above man, and no living thing or matter is above man. However, many people bow their heads to the material things of the world and make a wish. They made statues, wooden statues, murals, etc. and bowed, or worshipped countless different materials, including the sun, moon, high mountains, sea, rivers, old trees, piles of stones, unusual-looking rocks, dolls, amulets, souvenirs, and animals. This is a foolish act that violates the order of creation, and God will be angry. Again, humans are the rulers of all things. Animals, plants, and materials are subject to rule, not worship. In Isaiah 44:15, God said, "It is used as fuel for burning. Some of it he takes and warms himself. He kindles a fire and bakes bread." But he also fashions a god and worships it. He makes an idol and bows down to it. God pointed out human folly. It is more foolish for a man to bow down to material things than to bow down to a passing fish and cry out for his rescue. Inanimate matter is forever only matter. Even now, let's keep the order of creation properly so that we can please God, who made us, and live under God's blessing. Also, let's make the children of faith grow and thrive so that the Father's purpose of creation can be achieved. Thanks for watching.